Hi, today I'm going to do the social media book tag. Obviously I wasn't tagged since I am a new booktuber, but I decided to do it anyway because it looks like tons of fun. And I'm using the questions that Ariel said in her videos because if you didn't know, she changed the questions a bit, and I did prefer to do her questions over the original one. First up, we have Twitter, which is your favorite shortest book. And I actually have a tie between two books. And the tie is between The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman and The Timekeeper by Mitch Albom. I think that's how you say his name. And The Ocean at the End of the Lane is about a man who returns to his hometown, the town where he grew up in, and he basically remembers a childhood memory about a very unusual girl that he met called Letty. Why did I say Lainey? Called Letty, and her family and everything that happened to him with them. And it's like reading a dream. It's so beautiful. And even though it's really short, I got so captivated in the story, and I love all the characters, and it's really beautiful. And the second book, The Timekeeper, I liked because of like the philosophy that surrounded the book. This book has extremely short chapters, like 1 page a chapter. It goes and the story is told through three perspectives. A teenage girl, a man who's about to die from cancer, and the timekeeper, who is the first man to start recording or trying to keep time in some way, like to be able to tell the time. And it's really beautiful because it touches how being able to control or see how much time went from one moment to the next affected mankind, and how we think that we have power the moment that we understand how much time went by and things. Next up, we have Facebook, which is a book that everyone pressured you into reading. And that book for me is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. I feel like everyone who read The Fault in Our Stars, yes, it's Cars Before Life, but The Fault in Our Stars falls into two categories. Either you read this at the beginning when it just came out and you loved it, or you were from the people that got so pressured by everyone to start reading it that the hype, for me at least, kind of killed the book, because people told tons of spoilers online, overhyped about it, in my opinion, which just kind of made me expect much more than the book was about, much more than any book can be, I think. And in my opinion, because I already knew the ending and my friends accidentally spoiled me, I found that it did kind of make me less excited about the book. I had the book for an entire year and I just pushed back from reading it, and then eventually a week before the movie I was like, okay, I have to read this book, and so I read it, and obviously I loved it because it's John Green and I love his books. But I found that other books by him, Looking for Alaska, was much more entertaining, much more enjoyable for me, because I didn't know the ending. Next up is Tumblr, which is a book you read before it was cool, which literally never happened to me. I usually, with movies, with and music, I'd have no problem finding something that I heard nothing about and then seeing it or hearing it and seeing how I like it. But with books, usually because you have to go out and you have to buy the books, I usually want to buy books that I know that people have read and loved, rather than just buying a random underhyped books. And if I do, then I usually love them, but then they never got so cool so that I can't use any of them. So, but the only book that I can count as reading it before it was cool was Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor, and I didn't read this when it came out. I did read this when it was a bit hyped over, but when I read it, it was hyped over, but not at the amount that it is right now, because the third book wasn't out and the second book just came out, so it wasn't as hyped as it is now, in my opinion. So that's like the only book I can use, and I don't have the physical copy with me because I'm letting it out to a friend. Next is MySpace, which is a book that you can remember if you liked or not. And for me, that book is Matched. And let me explain why. Reading Matched, it was an okay book. I didn't have any feelings about it that I remember. It's like, I didn't love it, but at the same time, I didn't completely hate it. And then I read Crossed. And now I just really hate the entire series. And like when I'll have an unwholesome time in the future, these are like the first 2 books that I'm gonna throw away. Because Crossed was a book that nothing happened in. There was like 5 chapters where something happened that was meaningful in the book, and I think that Crossed could have just like never happened. Give me those 5 chapters, put them at the end of Matched. First of all, Matched would have been a much better book, and second of all, I would have come to despise this trilogy, because Crossed, it's basically this character running in the desert, and the author writing about like, oh, okay, now she's running, now she's eating, now she's thinking like where she can find water. That doesn't interest me. Like, it can interest me for 1 chapter, 2 chapters, not 365 pages, obviously. So that's why I'm saying that I don't remember how I really felt about Match, because Crossed kind of took the spotlight in that sense. Okay, next up is Instagram, which is also my favorite social media application. And the question with Instagram is a book that you found so beautiful you just had to take a photo of it and upload to Instagram. And for me, that is Unravel Me. Obviously, I think that all of the books in the Shadow Me trilogy are extremely beautiful. I like the entire concept of the eye, which is like not lots of books have that. And obviously when you see like a book with an eye, it like calls out to you on the book. It's like, come and pick me up. And I did. And I'm not the hugest fan of the series, because I did find a couple of faults with it, but say what you say about the series, like, or think what you think, it has extremely beautiful covers, especially this one with like the snow and everything, the teardrop on the side. I love everything about this cover. YouTube, which is a book that you would turn into a movie. Now I'm gonna say that it's safe to say that this movie will be a faithful book to movie adaptation that won't be like Percy Jackson, because seriously, that movie murdered Percy Jackson. Like, I keep telling people, read Percy Jackson, it's a really, really good series. I'm like, yeah, I saw the movie. I was like, yeah, you do not need to see the movie. The same thing happened with The Golden Compass, which totally killed like everything that had to do like with the book in that movie. It's like, directors, read the books and not just the first one, because then you feel they can throw everything out, like what happened in The Mortal Instruments. Wait, you took things from the 3rd book and you put them in the 1st book, and when that happened, me and my friends want to stay together, we just started screaming, no, you're not supposed to find that out in the 1st movie, wait till the 3rd. That's what I hate. Like, directors, read it. Like, if you're going to go and direct this movie, you don't have to read the entire series, but read the 1st and the 2nd book so you can understand what things that don't seem so meaningful in the 1st book take and are a huge part of in the 2nd book. Same thing happened with the Virgin. Like, we don't have Uriah. Like, we need him in Insurgent. And the fact that they made like another character who will do a love triangle, finally we have a YA trilogy without a love triangle. And it worked, and it was good, because Tobias and Triss go through enough crap. They don't need another guy in the mix. So why would you do this to us? Like, we love the book series exactly how it is. Why change it? So, without that entire rant, I'm going to say that this is it's safe to say that it's a good book to movie adaptation, and I would like to have a movie of The Forbidden Game by L.J. Smith. This book is pretty old. I think it came out in the 90s. But I love it, and I especially like the entire concept of there being a demon who sucked this group of teenagers into this between worlds place where they have to defeat their biggest nightmares, or basically the biggest fears, to get away. That's basically the summary of what the book is about. Anyone who likes the Vampire Diaries, the Secret Circle, doesn't matter if it's the books or the TV series, will love this. And I think that for those of you who saw the second half of the third season of the Teen Wolf, with how they did the dreams and with the demon and the possession, I think that if they did the same thing to the first book, this is the 3 books combined, if they did for the first book, then it could be like an extraordinary movie. And it's a really good concept though for a movie, because it's like you don't know what's real, what's not real, and you have to defeat it, and it's really, really beautiful. And like to see it will be really beautiful as well. It will look really, really good, I think, in an adaptation, especially in a movie adaptation. Though a TV series, like a mini TV series, could do it justice too. Okay. And last is Goodreads, which is a book you recommend to everyone to read. And this is a book I read around the springtime, which is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstein. When I hear her family name, I keep on thinking of like the Mortal Instruments, Jonathan. But The Night Circus, for those of you who do not know, is 2 magicians who are in a competition since they're young. And the stage for this competition is basically a circus where through the circus and the different tents, they showcase their abilities, and basically, that's right, like, there's tons of, like, pages that I dog-eared, yes, just because I didn't, like, have any stickers with me for, like, beautiful quotes throughout the book, and this book, it's like reading a dream that you never want to wake up from. Everything about it, in my eyes, is perfection. Like the different perspectives, how things jump through the time, how she tied everything up in the end. It's so wonderful. It's so magical, and I can't wait for another book from this author. So that's it for the social media book tag. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I'll have another tag up soon, and if you haven't been tagged and you want to do this tag, then go ahead and do it, because it really is tons of fun. And yeah, thank you for watching my video.